Have one fact tuning into today's video. Just going to have a quick look at the unsettled weather that's coming up over next week. Going to be more heavy rain, I'm afraid, sweeping across the country. Several bouts of really wet weather will be increasing the risk of flooding, unfortunately, across parts of the country. Then we'll have a look at what's going on with the stratosphere over the Arctic in the coming couple of weeks. I did a video yesterday, of course, saying that it looked like there's a bit of a stratospheric warming heading towards Canada and Greenland. We'll see if that's still on course in today's video. Now, before I get on with that, just to talk about the advertising. There's video ads on my pages at GazWebBiz.com. You hit play on the video ad, you'll be supporting GazWebBiz.com. So all you have to do, you don't necessarily have to sit through and watch the whole thing. Just hit play on the video ad, and by doing that, it's a very simple thing, you support GazWebBiz.com. Thanks so much for doing that and for your ongoing support of the website. So we're going to start off with the rainfall that's coming up over the next week. Now, this is today's area of low pressure, bringing heavy rain across much of the country. It's pouring with rain where I am in North Hampshire, and many parts of the country are very, very wet today. That rain will move eastwards through the course of the day, and eventually it's going to brighten up with brighter skies coming into west. But it's a pretty wet hard morning across much of the country, and that's just the start of several bouts of rain that will be coming in through the course of the week or so. So the next area of low pressure and set of weather fronts will be coming across the country through New Year's Eve. That's going to give us a sucky old time of it through New Year's Eve day anyway. In the evening it probably will clear up a little bit, but certainly through the day it's going to be quite wet. And then for the start of 2014, no different, the low pressure is still dominating, and another weather system will be coming across the country through New Year's Day, bringing very wet and windy conditions. Once again, tiny packed ice bars on New Year's Day as well, so there could be some really heavy rain mixed in with that. We get a bit of a break a bit through Thursday and Friday. It's more sort of showery conditions there, but by Friday, the next area of low pressure is to the west of Ireland, developing into quite a major system that's going to move across the country from Friday into Saturday. So Saturday will bring yet more rain across much of the country. Some of that will be quite heavy. And then as we go into Sunday, look at this. We're developing another Atlantic storm system, a major storm system there developing to west of Ireland. Hard to see what the central pressure is on that, but I think we're going down somewhere towards 930 millibars again. So very intense area of low pressure being signalled there. It's some way off. It's just under a week away, so it's a little way off. Don't take it too seriously, be too worried about it, but certainly the suggestion is there that some sort of major storm system could develop at some point next weekend. Obviously that's going to be sweeping more bouts of heavy rain across the country, and there on Monday the 6th of January is the low pressure to the north of Scotland. Obviously that will be feeding in lots of heavy showers or longer spells of rain as well. So having a look at the precipitation forecast for the next week, here's the rainfall coming across the country today. Some quite heavy rain mixed in with that, obviously. There's the rain coming in from the west on New Year's Eve. That's going to give us a soggy old day for New Year's Eve, although for New Year's Eve evening I think it will clear up a little bit, although still rather a lot of showers around. There's the weather system, the rain for New Year's Day, another bout of it coming across the country with a lot of wind be associated with that. Then as I say, for Thursday and Friday we had a bit of a break, although it will be showery, but I don't think it'll be the bands of heavy rain sweeping across the country through Thursday and Friday. But by Saturday we're back to the heavy rain once again, heavy and persistent rain coming across the country. Then on Sunday, there's the rain that's going to be associated with that deep storm system in the mid-Atlantic, if indeed it does develop. And then by the time we get through to Monday the 6th, we're back in sort of a showery air mass. But you notice, if you look out into the Atlantic, there's more blue blobs there, developing areas of low pressure in the Atlantic that will be coming across the Atlantic into the British Isles and Europe through the subsequent weeks. So there's no sign of an end, really, to the breakdown in the Atlantic train. There's going to be more heavy rain coming up. This is the chart. This chart is showing the total precipitation forecast, the total forecast precipitation across England and Wales for the next week. So this ends on Monday the 6th of January, and we see that well, for the eastern areas we've got anything up to 20 to 40 millimetres of rain being predicted over next week, so perhaps not too bad. But for central and western parts of the country, we're seeing anything up to 60, 70, 80 millimetres of rain being predicted here. And around the Lake District, we're actually seeing indications for over 90 millimetres of rain. Now, of course, the Lake District, very wet place anyway, so that can take the rain. But many of these city areas, towns and city areas in the west, I think are going to be at risk of flooding. And in the southwest as well, up to 60, 70 millimetres being signalled along the south coast here, around Dorset, going down in towards the west country as well. So certainly a very, very wet week coming up. Anything between around, say, 60 to 80 millimetres in the west. More than that around the Lake District. There is obviously, because the rivers are already full, ground saturated, there is obviously going to be an ongoing risk of flooding with this over the coming week, and more weather systems probably lining up to bring up very wet and windy conditions through the following week, starting the 6th of January and going on up to around the 12th. Now, yesterday I spoke about the stratospheric warming that looked like it could be on the way for Canada and Greenland later on in January. These are the stratospheric forecast charts at the website Meteocil, and I should just say you can find a link to Meteocil on my links page. The reason stratospheric warmings are important is that when they occur over the Arctic, they can be a precursor to blocking the warming in the stratosphere, propagates down into the troposphere. The troposphere is where weather is going on, and when that warm air propagates down, it can start to lead to blocking areas of high pressure up over the pole. So starting on the 10th of January, and we've got some warming going on the Pacific side of the Arctic, over on the Asian side, and a little bit of warming there around Newfoundland, but nothing particularly significant. Let's see what the latest run of the GFS wants to do, and again, it's the same story as we had just. We find those yellow colours appearing around Newfoundland, around the Atlantic coast of Canada, and stretching out towards Greenland as well. And as we go on towards the end of the latest run of the GFS model, that warming does intensify again around Canada and heading off into Greenland. So by the 15th of January, we've got a very significant warming taking place. Probably not a sudden stratospheric warming. The temperatures for that have to be higher than this. They have to go into the colours here have to go into the orange and red colours. Nevertheless, that is a significant warming being signalled for Canada and for Greenland around the middle of January. The GFS is being consistent with this. We're not seeing it on every single run. The 6 o'clock run of last night's GFS didn't show it, but it's come back today. And of course, these charts are a long way out. With this chart that you're looking at here, the final chart, the 15th of January, is 384 hours away. And just as with the generic weather charts, these charts are as liable to change and to swing around as all the other charts. So really we're just using this for trends at the moment to see whether this trend of a warming around Canada and Greenland is maintained. If it is maintained, and if we do get this warming around middle of January, it could set up some sort of block feature, or at the very least knock the polar vortex that's stuck over Greenland, knock it off its perch a little bit, maybe send some of it off to Siberia, some of it off towards the Pacific, Pacific coast of the Arctic as well. It's just sort of an indication that we might get a change in the pattern to this very ingrained and entrenched sort of Atlantic zonal driven trend. The CFS model, the long-range CFS model, is seeing a bit of a colder snap occurring around the middle of January. This is the city forecast for Birmingham from the long-range CFS model from the website weatherweb.net. You can find a link to WeatherWeb on my links page. We see temperatures holding up very nicely through the new year. That's January the 1st, just there. So we're staying mild in that Atlantic sort of zonal trade. But once we get through around, well, there's the length of January just there. So say once we get to around the 13th or 14th of January, you do start to see a slide up begin to occur. Once we get to the middle of January, around the 16th, 17th, we see a big drop in temperatures taking place. We're going sub-zero. That's for that's 0 Celsius just there. So actually maximum temperatures are going sub-zero for a few days around the middle of January on this particular run of the CFS model. Now it doesn't last too long. It sees temperatures picking up again as we get through to around the 21st. And then temperatures do lift up as we get through to the end of January. and into the start of February it turns quite mild once again. But I'm not sure about that. If we was to get that stratospheric warming occurring over Greenland, I think the colder conditions could go on for a little while. I'm not sure it would be as brief as that is showing, but nevertheless there is quite a significant cold snap appearing there around the middle of January. Certainly the coldest that we've seen this winter on the latest CFS. Whether that's tied in to this stratospheric warming over Greenland, or forecast stratospheric warming over Greenland, I'm not sure. But it's interesting, but around the middle of January, around the time that this warming is taking place over Greenland and Canada, if it comes off, the CFS is seeing a significant drop in temperature, although, again, I emphasise, only lasting a few days. These are the maximum temperature forecasts from the CFS model, broken down into weekly periods. So this is the mean anomaly for the week ending the 12th of January, quite mild, although turning a little bit colder across Scotland, just 1 or 2 degrees through central Scotland, but much of the country around average 5 to say 8 degrees. But the next week, the week ending the 19th, so this from the 12th to the 19th, the anomaly is much cold. Look at that, most of the country going sub-zero during that week. And as we go through to the next week, which is the week ending the 26th of January, well, still pretty cold really, especially for the east. Temperatures barely above freezing, just 1, 2, 3 degrees, turning milder in the west, and the week after that does see that milder air breaking through across all parts of the country. But certainly something there being signalled by the CFS model for the middle stages of January, possibly lasting into the last stages as well. And it's interesting that that does tie in with this forecast warming over Greenland and Newfoundland. So certainly for the first week, maybe 10 days of January, we're looking at very unsettled conditions, more heavy bouts of rain, more gales, severe gales at times, same old that we had through December. There is going to be an ongoing and increasing risk of flooding. Then around the middle of the month, we've got to be watching out for that warming around Canada and Greenland and see whether that comes off. If it does, then we've got to look at the potential implications. CFS shows what could happen, although I'm not sure that's necessarily tied in with the warming, to be honest, but it could get a lot colder through the middle and latter stages of January. So all in all, very interesting. January could be a transitional month where we go from a very zonal, a wet setup start of the month to something a lot colder later on. But it's all very speculative. We've got to get that warming going over Greenland first of all, and just see what happens. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.